The stars above the shattered planet Twyler flickered dimly, as if even the universe hesitated to watch what was happening below. Smoke rose from the broken cities like dark fingers reaching for the void. On the surface, alien soldiers scrambled. Among the ruins, their claws and armor smeared with dust and blood. Panic hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as the command centers on this remote planet struggled to maintain control. Somewhere in the distance, a loud, crackling signal tore through the static of communication channels. A distress call. Urgent and desperate, but unlike anything the galaxy had ever heard before. Commander Vrelk, a towering figure in dark green. Armor froze as he watched the blinking lights on the communication panel. His antenna twitched nervously. "This is a distress call from Sector Deltanine." "What? What is that signature? It isn't any fleet we know." His voice trembled, though he tried to hide it. Round him, other officers whispered, scanning their instruments. No one recognized the energy pattern that pulsed across the screen, nor the frequency. It was foreign, dangerous. The aliens had faced countless threats before. Rogue mercenaries, insurgents, rival species, and even deadly cosmic storms. Yet something about this signal unsettled them. It was more than a call. For help, it was a warning. The message repeated itself in sharp, broken tones. "Backup is coming. Do not resist. It's impossible to stop." Each time the static crackled over it. But the tone was clear. Whoever was coming was not to be underestimated. Vrelk's second-in-command, a lean, gray-scaled officer named Tyrax, glanced at him with wide eyes. "Backup. Our fleets are on the way, sir. We can handle this. It's just reinforcements." But even as he spoke, the planet trembled with distant explosions. The alien soldiers scattered for cover as another bombardment shook the ruins, debris raining from damaged. Tyrax swallowed hard. He knew the term backup did not sit right with him. There was a weight in the air, something invisible and heavy. It set their claws on edge, down on the surface. The distress call's origin was clear, a research station hidden deep in the canyon plains. Its walls were scorched, half collapsed, and still its security drones hummed weakly, trying to hold against the chaos. Inside, the remaining scientists, exhausted, terrified, and bleeding, scanned the horizon. They did not know who would answer their call, but they hoped against reason that help would arrive before the planet fell completely into ruin. Their fingers hovered over the communication pads, sending repeated signals into the void. The thing they needed was delay. Every second counted, and every second the aliens wasted their pride thinking they were in control brought them closer to disaster. Back in orbit, Vrelk ordered all monitoring stations to focus on the incoming energy signature. It flickered like a heartbeat, steady and relentless, growing stronger with every passing minute. "It's coming closer," he said, though no one wanted to admit the dread pooling in their stomachs. Reports began to arrive from the surface. Alien patrols encountering unexplainable resistance. Small skirmishes being crushed in moments. Soldiers reporting strange shapes moving faster than any craft they had ever seen. Panic escalated quietly like an infection in the observation room. Sensors picked up the approaching fleet, and for the first time the aliens realized something terrifying. The shapes on the scanners did not match any known design. They were not like their allies, not like any hostile they had studied. The lines of the ships were sharp, deadly, almost skeletal, moving with precision that was almost unnatural. Even the commanders could not predict their course. "It's impossible," Vrelk muttered. "We've never seen technology like this. They move before we even see them." On the ground, the remaining aliens tried to brace themselves. Their weapons, strong and deadly against other species, felt fragile in their hands. Each shot fired seemed to echo into emptiness. Distress call repeated itself, now almost as if mocking them. "Backup is coming. You cannot fight it. Impossible to resist." Fear clawed at the edges of every alien mind. Rumors spread through the rank stales of the deadliest worlds. Humans who survived impossible conditions, who adapted to horrors no other species could endure. Most dismissed it as legend, but deep down a seed of doubt had been planted. Then the first glimpse appeared. A streak of silver and black tore through the darkness above Twyler, moving faster than thought itself. It split the sky with a terrifying roar, and for a moment, every alien on the planet froze. The shape was massive, yet streamlined, deadly, and silent in its intent. Sensors went wild trying to scan it, but readings failed. No energy signatures, no predictable patterns, just raw movement and purpose. Vrelk gripped the edge of his command chair. He had faced war, he had led fleets, he had survived dozens of battles, yet something in him knew the worst was yet to come. The distress call had been just the beginning. Whatever was arriving, whoever was coming to answer that desperate cry for help, would change the fate of Twyler forever. And no alien in the galaxy had expected humans from the deadliest worlds. The silence of space shattered like glass when the first human ships emerged from the void. From orbit, the alien commanders could hardly believe their sensors. The shapes were unlike any design they had ever catalogued. Sleek, angular, and almost skeletal. The ships moved with precision that defied logic, as if they could think before the aliens themselves. Vrelk stared at the readings, his claws trembling over the control panel. They are here, he said, voice barely above. A whisper. Around him the crew froze, realizing the full meaning of the words. Whatever was coming would not be negotiated with. It would act decisively. Down on Twyler, the alien soldiers on the surface watched the sky turn silver black. Humans descended, but not like invaders of legend. There was no hesitation, no warning salvo. The human ships sliced through the atmosphere like knives, dropping troops and machines that moved faster than thought. Even the aliens' most advanced drones faltered, their targeting systems failing to track the newcomers. Soldiers fired blindly, but the humans were already among them. Tactical units striking with lethal precision, neutralizing threats before the aliens could understand what was happening. Commander Vrelk barked orders that no one could follow. Every plan he had prepared, every contingency, seemed meaningless in the face of these humans. The aliens' communications were chaotic. Panic had spread through their ranks like wildfire. Reports flooded in from the surface skirmishes that should have taken hours were over in minutes. Entire squads were gone before they even realized humans were near. How? How are they so fast? How are they everywhere? Tarax gasped, scanning his instruments frantically. The humans moved like shadows, appearing where the aliens least expected, disappearing before retaliation could come. The humans themselves were terrifying, but also almost alien in their own way. Clad in black and silver armor, they seemed calm, controlled, and utterly confident. Weapons in hand, they operated with coordination that the aliens could not comprehend. One human soldier dropped behind enemy lines, disarming traps and capturing officers without raising a shout. Another team breached a fortified bunker in seconds, neutralizing guards with precise shots that left no chance for resistance. For the aliens, it was almost impossible to process. These were not mere reinforcements. They were predators. Twyler had become their hunting ground. Even the humans' technology was beyond anything known. Their energy shields flickered and recharged instantly, their weapons fired with pinpoint accuracy, and their vehicles could climb impossible terrain. Sensors on the alien ships and weapons failed to predict trajectories or weaknesses. Every attempt to strike back ended in failure. Vrelk felt a deep gnawing fear settle in his chest. He had fought wars, survived battles that crushed entire planets, yet the humans brought a terror that was different, pure, calculated, and unstoppable. In the command center, alarms blared as human ships disabled the alien fleets in orbit. The energy signature that had once sent fear across the galaxy now became dread in the hearts of every officer present. Human strike teams moved through corridors, overriding security systems and cutting off communications. They were methodical, professional, and terrifyingly effective. Aliens tried to regroup, but every attempt ended in chaos. They had never faced an enemy that could read the battlefield with such accuracy, anticipate movements, react instantly. On the surface, Vrelk watched through the observation viewport as the humans advanced. Entire squads vanished in seconds. Bunkers that had seemed impenetrable were breached with ease. The soldiers tried to fight back, but morale crumbled under the relentless precision of their attackers. And yet, there was a strange pattern. Humans did not destroy everything. They targeted key points, captured vital technology, and left others untouched. It was not random, it was strategic. The aliens could not understand the reasoning behind the calculated mercy. Every action seemed to serve a greater plan, but the plan was hidden. Leaving a growing sense of panic, the humans' presence also revealed something the aliens had underestimated: intelligence and unpredictability combined. No one could predict their next move. It could strike from orbit one moment and be in the canyon plains the next. They seemed to know the weaknesses of every alien structure, every patrol pattern, every command hierarchy. Even Vrelk, who had once been proud of his tactical genius, felt powerless. The humans were rewriting the rules of war, showing that brute strength alone could not defend against their skill and cunning. As the day turned to night on Twyler, the human forces had established control over several critical zones. Alien soldiers were either captured, fleeing, or in hiding. Communication between units had collapsed. The command center was littered with reports that made no sense, sensor readings that could not be decoded, and an overwhelming feeling of fear that had no name. And through it all, the humans moved like shadows, disciplined and unstoppable, leaving a clear message. This was not a negotiation. This was a warning. Commander Vrelk finally understood the truth. The stories whispered across the galaxy. The legends of humans from the deadliest worlds were real. They were not myths. They were hunters, survivors, and warriors beyond imagination. And Twyler, once thought secure, was now a battlefield where humans decided the rules. Every alien who had doubted their strength now realized that help had arrived, but it was not help they expected. It was judgment. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the human command network, a voice issued its first instruction across Twyler. Calm, unwavering, and full of authority. Secure the planet. No one leaves alive. If they resist, the humans had not come from anywhere ordinary. As the alien forces struggled to comprehend their speed and efficiency, whispers of legend began to surface among those who survived the first strikes. They spoke of planets no one in the galaxy dared to live on, worlds of endless storms, crushing gravity, searing heat, and frozen wastelands. Worlds where survival meant learning to fight, adapt, and endure beyond imagination. And from these worlds came the humans, molded by hardship, sharpened by danger. And hardened for war, Commander Vrelk studied the reports with a growing sense of disbelief. Every intercepted transmission hinted at human origins steeped in cruelty and survival. Unlike any other species, humans had thrived on planets that would have killed others within hours. Their bodies, their minds, and even their culture were honed for resilience. Alien science had long debated the limits of adaptation, and yet humans had surpassed them all. They could endure conditions that would suffocate, burn, or freeze other beings instantly. Their ships, tools, and weapons were designed not only for combat, but for survival in environments that no other species had ever conquered. Down on Twyler, alien soldiers struggled to contain the fear gnawing at their claws. Every engagement with humans revealed another layer of terror. Humans fought not just with weapons, but with strategy that seemed to anticipate every move, every thought, every weakness. Patrols that ventured into the ruins reported humans striking from impossible angles, peering in places no one had thought to check, disappearing before retaliation could begin. It was as though the humans could bend the battlefield to their will, shaping it into a trap that only they understood. Tyrax, Vrelks, second in command, reviewed footage from a skirmish earlier in the day. He shook his head, disbelief etched on his gray-scaled face. "Look at this," he muttered, pointing at a holographic replay. A human soldier darted across the open field, dodging energy blasts, leaping over debris, and disarming an entire squad of alien soldiers with nothing more than a compact weapon and precise hand movements. The soldiers had barely seen him, yet they were incapacitated in seconds. This is not just training, this is evolution. Vrelk's claws tightened around the edge of the console, "They're not here for reinforcements," he said. Quietly, "They are here for us. They are hunting." The truth settled over him like a heavy fog. The humans were not ordinary soldiers. They were the product of centuries of survival against impossible odds, raised in environments that stripped away weakness, forged into warriors whose instincts were faster than any scanner, any algorithm, any prediction. In the alien bunkers, panic spread like wildfire. The survivors whispered stories of human tactics that defied logic. One had heard of a human who had survived a planet that rained acid for days on end, emerging with nothing but a scorched cloak and a warning. Another spoke of humans who had navigated deserts of fire, glaciers that could slice metal, and storms that shattered mountains all without faltering. It was not simply strength they possessed. It was adaptability, cunning, and the terrifying ability to endure what others could not. The battlefield itself had become a teacher. Every encounter revealed more about the humans' capabilities. They could coordinate silently, moving as a single organism without visible communication. Alien commanders noticed patterns. Humans exploited the tiniest weaknesses and defenses, used the environment itself as a weapon, and struck without hesitation. They were not just strong, they were impossible to predict. And the more the aliens resisted, the more the humans seemed to anticipate, counter, and dominate. Vrelk convened his officers in the main control room. Panic was evident in their movements. "We've underestimated them," he said, his voice steady but tense. "These humans, they are not just fighters. They are survivors from the deadliest worlds. They are built to win, and they will not stop." Tyrax nodded, unable to find words to describe the dread that had taken root. The reports were clear. Humans could not be reasoned with, bargained with, or intimidated. Their strength came from something deeper than weapons, something innate, something honed over centuries of living in conditions the galaxy considered uninhabitable. The humans' progress through Twyler became a demonstration of their deadly skill. Alien units were outmaneuvered at every turn, bunkers breached in minutes, and supply lines destroyed before they could even react. Every strike carried precision and strategy, and yet the humans seemed to move with calm, almost detached focus. It was a terrifying combination of discipline, instinct, and raw survival ability. Aliens began to understand why legends had warned of these warriors. They were not just fighters, they were the ultimate test of every species. Limitations. And then came the message. A human transmission, clear and unwavering, reached the Alien Command Center. Its tone was simple, almost casual, but it carried an edge of authority that sent chills through every listener. "We know where you are. We know what you value. Resistance is meaningless. Prepare to face what you could not survive." Silence followed. The aliens, already shaken, realized that these humans were not just on Twyler by chance. They had planned, studied, and prepared for this moment. Every step the humans took was deliberate, calculated, and devastating. Vrelk slumped into his chair, staring at the screens. The realization hit him fully. Twyler was not a battlefield the aliens controlled. Anymore, it was a proving ground for humans from the deadliest worlds. Every legend, every warning, every tale of impossible survival was true. And as the humans continued their relentless advance, one fact became horrifyingly clear. There was no way to stop them. Not here, not anywhere in the galaxy. The skies above Twyler were filled with chaos. Alien ships that once ruled the orbit now scattered like frightened insects, desperately trying to regroup, but the humans had already anticipated every move. Explosions rocked the surface as ground. Forces struggled to hold their positions. As commanders barked orders, but the panic had taken hold. Every officer knew, deep down, that their strategies were failing faster than they could react. Every attempt to fight back seemed meaningless. The humans were not just strong, they were smarter, faster, more precise than anything the galaxy had ever faced. Commander Vrelk stared at the holomap, his claws tightening. He could see the humans' pattern, yet understanding it offered no comfort. Every strike was calculated, every maneuver perfect. Alien soldiers had fled bunkers thinking they had secured safety, only to find themselves trapped by humans who had anticipated their escape. Supply lines were destroyed before reinforcements could arrive. Even the elite units, trained for decades to handle any crisis, were being wiped out systematically. The alien leaders whispered rumors of human forces who could predict the enemies. Thoughts a notion that seemed impossible, yet every result proved it true. Tyrax paced the command room, glancing at reports of field collapses. "Commander," he said, voice tight, "our units are failing everywhere. They are fast, precise, impossible to track. Even our sensors cannot keep up. They move like ghosts." Relk did not reply immediately. He knew the truth. Tactic they had ever relied on was useless here. The humans were not just fighting, they were teaching the aliens a lesson, demonstrating superiority with every strike. And the worst part was the aliens could not understand why. On the surface, humans advanced with a calm and terrifying efficiency. One squad cleared an entire canyon stronghold in minutes. They moved silently, coordinating through signals invisible to alien detection systems. Alien soldiers fired blindly, yet humans dodged, countered, and incapacitated with a precision that left no margin for error. And yet, strangely, humans did not destroy everything. Key infrastructure remained untouched, while weapons caches were seized intact. It was not random, it was a strategy. A methodical control over chaos that alien commanders could not predict. Panic spread beyond the battlefield. Alien leaders sent messages to nearby sectors pleading for reinforcements, yet every call was intercepted or neutralized. Human forces had established dominance over communication networks. Using technology that scrambled sensors and disrupted coordination, the aliens realized that resistance had become more than futile, it was suicidal. Entire fleets were immobilized. Not by brute force alone, but by the humans' understanding of battlefield psychology, prediction, and manipulation. In the command center, Vrelt convened his officers. Their eyes were wide with fear, their usual arrogance stripped away. "We are losing control," he admitted, voice tight. "Our soldiers are dying, our fleets are scattered, and our defenses are failing. Humans are not just fighting, they are orchestrating our defeat. Every step we take is anticipated, every plan neutralized. We are watching our empire crumble before it even fully mobilizes." The officers whispered among themselves, unable to comprehend how a species from the so-called deadliest worlds could impose such terror. On the front lines, alien soldiers tried one last desperate tactic: traps, ambushes, and decoy formations. Each effort was anticipated, dismantled, and turned against them. Human troops moved through the ruins like phantoms, striking where the aliens were weakest, leaving psychological terror in their wake. Soldiers who survived encounters told tales of humans appearing behind them without warning, neutralizing them without hesitation, then disappearing into shadows. The humans' method of warfare was unlike anything the galaxy had seen, a combination of precision, fear, and unpredictability. Even alien scientists studying human physiology were struck by fear. Their scans revealed human bodies capable of surviving injuries, exhaustion, and conditions that would destroy any other species. Their reflexes, speed, and adaptability were beyond measurement. Every legend the aliens had heard was confirmed. These were humans from the deadliest worlds, trained by environments that forged them into the ultimate predators. Vrelk felt a chill creep down his spine. Not only were these humans unstoppable on the battlefield, they were unknowable, unpredictable, and relentless. As night fell on Twyler, the human forces paused, but only briefly. Alien commanders hoped for respite, but it never came. Every human squad was already positioning, preparing for the next phase. Communication lines remained in chaos, and the aliens could see their soldiers' morale collapsing. Even the bravest units, who had survived countless battles across the galaxy, quivered in fear. The humans did not just kill, they dismantled. Hope, leaving despair where resistance had once existed. Then came the human message. A single, simple transmission, clear and deliberate, echoed across every network the aliens had tried to protect. "We know your defenses. We know your fears. There is no strength that can match ours. Resistance is meaningless. Prepare to witness your end. Silence fell over the command center. Vrelk and his officers understood fully. This was not war. In the traditional sense, this was the humans asserting control, showing their dominance, and teaching the galaxy why they were feared. The desperation was complete. Alien leaders had no plan left, no hope for salvation, and no understanding of how to survive. Every action had been predicted, every resource neutralized, every defense dismantled. The humans had turned Twyler into a cage, and there was no escape. Vrelk realized the full scope of the nightmare. Humans from the deadliest worlds were not here to negotiate. They were here to rewrite the rules of war, to demonstrate superiority, and to ensure the aliens never forgot the price of underestimating them. As the last reports came in, Vrelk whispered to himself, almost in disbelief, "They are unstoppable." And this is only the beginning. The humans did not pause. While the alien forces believed they had survived the first wave, the humans were already advancing deeper into Twyler's core. Every canyon, every ruined city, every fortified bunker was mapped, analyzed, and then struck with precision. Alien patrols reported humans appearing in places that should have been impossible to reach, neutralizing defenses before the alarm could sound. Twyler was no longer a battlefield. It was a maze. The humans controlled every corridor, every choke point. Every Shadow Commander Vrelk watched in disbelief as reports flooded in. Entire units had been cut off and surrounded before they even realized they were in danger. Supplies vanished, reinforcements failed to arrive, and alien morale collapsed under the relentless pressure. "How do they know our every move?" he whispered, his voice hollow. Tyrak shook his head, eyes wide. "It's as if they can see through everything we do. Our strategies, our plans, all useless. They control the battlefield itself." Humans were not merely attacking. They were teaching the aliens a lesson in fear. Every strike was designed to dismantle confidence. Fortifications that had been considered unbreachable were reduced to rubble. Energy grids, communication nodes, and weapon caches were captured or destroyed, leaving the aliens isolated and confused. Survivors spoke in hushed tones of the humans' terrifying efficiency. Teams that moved like shadows, vanished without trace, then struck again in another location. Every encounter left a message. Humans were not to be underestimated. What unsettled the aliens most was the humans' knowledge. Every defensive measure, every hidden trap, every secret tunnel or command post seemed known to them. Alien engineers tried to scramble sensors and encrypt communications, but the humans anticipated the countermeasures. Ships that were thought hidden in orbit were disabled before they could fire. Troops hiding in canyon bunkers were discovered and captured before they could react. It was not magic, nor advanced alien technology. It was human skill, discipline, and their experience surviving the deadliest worlds in one particularly brutal strike. A human unit advanced into the capital city of Twyla. The aliens had fortified the center with energy barriers, automated turrets, and elite soldiers. Yet in minutes, the humans dismantled the defenses. Soldiers reported seeing humans appear inside command towers without being detected, shutting down systems, neutralizing officers, and emerging into the streets like ghosts. By the time the aliens organized a counterattack, the humans were gone, leaving a pattern of destruction and a clear message. No place was safe, no position secure, no escape possible. Vrelk convened a council of surviving officers. Fear was etched into every face. "They are methodical," he admitted, voice strained. "They are not just fighting, they are controlling, planning, predicting. Every move we make is anticipated. Every trap is dismantled. They are orchestrating our defeat." The officers could only nod. There was no debate, no counter-argument. Humans from the deadliest worlds were proving their superiority not just through force, but through intelligence, strategy, and psychological warfare. The humans' methods were subtle, yet devastating. In one village, they captured alien soldiers and released them with false reports of reinforcements, only to ambush them at the next checkpoint. In another canyon, they sabotaged supply lines and left signs pointing to escape routes that led straight into traps. Each strike shattered confidence, sowed mistrust, and spread fear faster than any weapon could. The aliens realized too late that humans did not merely fight, they controlled how the enemy thought, acted, and feared. Even those who survived multiple encounters could not explain the humans' precision. Observers noted that humans coordinated without visible communication, as if the entire team shared one mind. Every maneuver seemed calculated to exploit the enemy's weaknesses while conserving their own strength. The aliens could only watch, powerless, as humans dismantled Twyler layer by layer. There was no mercy, but also no waste. Their actions had purpose, efficiency, and deadly accuracy. By the time night fell, the humans had reached deep into the heart of Twyler, capturing critical zones and leaving the alien forces fragmented and disoriented. Reports described alien commanders retreating to the surface while humans advanced, yet even retreat offered no safety. Strike teams appeared along escape routes, cutting off paths and forcing surrenders. Every action carried a lesson, every encounter a warning. Humans were not to be challenged, and not to be underestimated, and certainly not to be ignored. Then the final transmission arrived. Clear, calm, and deliberate, it echoed across every frequency. The aliens had tried to protect. Your defenses are known. Your fears are exposed. Resistance is futile. Twyler belongs to those who survive the deadliest worlds. Prepare to witness your limits. Silence followed. Alien officers stared at their consoles, realizing fully that their entire understanding of war, strategy, and survival had been shattered. Humans had struck deeper, faster, and smarter than anything they had ever faced. Twyler was only the beginning. Commander Vrelk slumped into his chair, staring blankly at the screens. The humans were not just enemies, they were forces beyond comprehension. And as he watched the battlefield from above, he understood something terrifying. Humans did not just fight to win. They fought to dominate, to teach, to survive, and to ensure that anyone foolish enough to resist would learn exactly why they were feared across the galaxy. The skies of Twyler were set ablaze with light, though it was not the light of hope, it was the light of inevitability. Human fleets, vast and terrifying, emerged from the shadows of space. Their ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, sleek, fast, and deadly, bristling with weapons, yet moving with an elegance that suggested control beyond technology. Every alien I fixed on the approaching armada, their hearts pounding with a fear they had never felt. This was the culmination, the final phase of an unstoppable force. Commander Vrelk's claws trembled over the console.
Ow.
Every sensor screamed. With incoming threats, every calculation, every prediction failed. They've brought everything, he whispered. Irax, standing nearby, could only stare. The humans were not just attacking, they were orchestrating a massacre with precision that left no room for error. Alien defenses collapsed under the first coordinated wave of strikes. Energy shields shattered, fleets were torn apart, and command towers erupted into fire and smoke. Twyler had become a proving ground. Humans were showing why they were feared across the deadliest worlds. On the surface, human soldiers moved like shadows among the ruins. Alien squads that had survived previous assaults were cut off, surrounded, and neutralized with terrifying efficiency. Every human seemed to know exactly where to strike, when to strike, and how to strike. There was no hesitation, no mercy, only precision. Even the most fortified alien bunkers fell within minutes. As if human forces could see through walls, predict defenses, and dismantle them before the aliens could react. Every engagement left a clear message. Survival depended not on skill alone, but on understanding that humans were the deadliest force in the galaxy. Alien fleets tried to respond, but every maneuver was anticipated. Every counterattack collapsed before it could begin. Ships were destroyed not only by weaponry, but by humans' understanding of strategy itself. Alien captains whispered rumors in disbelief. Humans were fighting like predators who had hunted. Every creature in impossible worlds, trained by environments designed to kill them. No technology, no fleet, no army could match the instinct, adaptability, and relentless drive of humans from the deadliest worlds. Even the humans' communication was terrifying in its simplicity. They coordinated silently, shared knowledge instantly, and struck with ruthless efficiency. Each strike dismantled not only forces but morale. Alien soldiers began surrendering in groups, their fear of humans overwhelming their loyalty. Units collapsed from panic, knowing they were up against warriors who had endured and survived the most extreme conditions imaginable. The humans' reputation was not just for speed or strength, it was for endurance, cunning, and an instinctive understanding of battle that left every alien commander reeling. Commander Vrelk attempted one final strategy, desperate gamble too. Consolidate surviving forces in a mountainous region, but the humans anticipated it. Strike teams descended from above, cutting off routes, isolating units, and neutralizing resistance with terrifying precision. For every bunker, every hidden outpost, every retreating soldier, humans had a plan, a countermeasure, a trap ready. The aliens realized with horror that the humans were not merely attacking, they were demonstrating their absolute control over the battlefield, in the heart of Twyler. Humans established command posts in record time. The alien leadership, scattered and demoralized, had no hope of mounting a meaningful resistance. From every sensor, report, and communication, one truth was undeniable. Humans were not just stronger or faster, they were smarter, more resilient, and more adaptive than anything the galaxy had faced. HFY legend had been true. Humans from the deadliest worlds were unstoppable, unpredictable, and unmatched. Twyler was now theirs. Then came the final human broadcast. Commanding and utterly clear, it echoed across every frequency the aliens had tried to protect. Twyler is secured. Resistance is futile. Learn this lesson well. Humans from the deadliest worlds will not be challenged, and those who oppose us will face extinction. Silence followed, broken only by the whine of alarms and the distant cries of retreating aliens. Vrelk sank into his chair, overwhelmed by the realization that nothing he had known about war could save them. Every strategy, every weapon, every fleet had been outmatched by humans whose skill and resilience were beyond imagination. As humans consolidated control, ports of mercy surfaced small, strategic gestures. Certain survivors were allowed to retreat with warnings, not as weakness, but as deliberate lessons. Humans did not destroy for destruction's sake. They acted with purpose, teaching the galaxy the consequences of underestimating them. Every move carried a lesson. Efficiency, strategy, and survival were paramount. And any who faced humans unprepared would be crushed by the time Twyler's skies darkened with the aftermath. Humans had vanished as swiftly as they had arrived. The battlefield was eerily silent. Alien soldiers counted their losses, scattered and broken, while human forces disappeared into the shadows of space, leaving only legends behind. Every survivor knew one thing with terrifying clarity. The humans from the deadliest worlds had arrived, and they had proven why no species could match them. Commander Vrelk looked out across the ruined landscape, swallowing a bitter truth. The humans were gone, but their presence remained etched into every mind, every fear, every calculation. Twyler would never forget. And as the whispers spread across the galaxy, one fact became undeniable. Humanity was not just a force of nature. It was the deadliest, most unstoppable force the universe had ever seen. And somewhere beyond the stars, humans watched, waiting, their purpose complete for now, but their legend had only just begun.